Busy.
What brings you guys in today?
Same old reasons we're here every week.
Every week, yep.
Yeah.
How is everything going? Tell me how this week has been for you both. So, who wants to go first?
Can Dad go first?
Sure. John, talk to me.
Like, in general, or between the two of us?
Between the both of you.
I mean, there's no change. It's all still the same. We're still having that same discussion. She doesn't understand the value of working hard, and she doesn't understand the value of turning yourself into something noteworthy and following in your family's footsteps and respecting your family and respecting your culture and respecting your obligation to your family, especially when said family is providing financial support, providing everything needed, and she just keeps on wanting to, stuck to that phone, and she leaves to traipse about on the stage in a costume pretending to be somebody else. So it's the same discussion. We're just not making any headway, and we're just at that point where, I mean, I'm not going to keep paying for somebody to pretend to whatever in some field where she's just not going to accomplish anything or make anything out of herself. So
I mean, I see that you have a lot of negative, like a negative outlook on what it is that she wants to really focus on. I know you're graduating this year. I know you've applied to so many schools. I know the last time we talked, you told me that she got accepted to Harvard, to Princeton, MIT, and a few other schools. And then there was a school in
that's
Manhattan.
because she completed her studies and dedicated herself and took all those courses and took all the advanced courses and the honors courses and did community service at the hospital. And
So would you say that you are proud of your daughter for getting into all these schools?
yes.
Would you say that she has the ability to do all this hard work to be successful and achieve end goals for herself
Yes.
and for your family?
Yes.
Okay. Let me check in with your daughter a little bit. Talk to me about how this week has gone. Because I know when you left, you were very overwhelmed because Dad is not on the same page with you. Now, is it only Dad not on the same page with you, or the family? And it's because I know you have your brother and I know you have your mom. Like, talk to me. I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna drink some water.
Yeah, that's fine. It's difficult because I feel like Mom doesn't really mind. I think she just wants me to do what's gonna make me happy.
When has she said that to you?
She hasn't said it, but in not so many words. She told me if I don't go to Harvard or any of the, big schools that she understands, and, it's going to save them money in the long run. So we laughed about that. And I don't think my brother cares because it doesn't really affect him.
Because he's in the army or something, no?
Yeah, he's doing his own thing, so it doesn't really bother him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like Dad doesn't get it. I mean, he wants me to be hardworking and be notable, and I feel like I can do all those things in theater or art or singing or any of those things that I want to be. And I spend all day right now on a stage pretending to be other people. I don't want to have to pretend to be somebody different at home. I don't want to have to pretend that I only like boys. I don't want to have to pretend that
That's
I
another
want to be
thing.
a mathematician.
That's another thing.
What's the other thing?
This I don't know that I like boys thing. Like, look at her. I mean, she runs off and she's trying to be Jennifer Sanchez or whoever that is, running around with her bottom hanging out of that dress and paying, people are paying all this money to watch her shake herself in front of some audience, and then she's telling me, I'm not going to have kids. I'm not going to get married. I'm going to find myself a girl. Like, what is that? There's nothing in our culture. There's nothing in our family. There's nothing in our religion that says that is okay. That is not
okay.
okay.
This week. I feel like I just
respect
don't want to
your
have to
family.
pretend to be someone I'm not at home. That's where I should get to be who I am, and it stinks that my own dad doesn't think that person is good enough.
You can.
How does that make you feel?
Hurt, and makes me disappointed in him. I thought he raised me.
So
better
hold on
than
one
that.
second. So I want you to look at your daughter, and I want you to look at your dad, and I want you to really tell him how his responses to things that you're looking forward to or things that you're exploring in your life is really impacting you inside in your relationship. Because I know you guys came here a few weeks ago, and that was the mishap that we were having. This is what you really wanted to work through because you felt like your daughter felt like she really can't get through to you, at least of her point of view, where she respects where you come from, but she doesn't feel like there's no rhythmicity and reciprocity in that, so that you are not respecting where she is either. So I know you have a lot of concerns and you have a lot of experience and you work with so many people, but I think this is a great opportunity for you to just really listen to what your daughter has to say and how some of the things you're saying is really impacting her. I mean, look, she's crying. You know, I feel so sad for her. And I know that you come from a good place because I hear everything you're saying underneath. I can see this love.
I would rather her cry here than find herself out in the world in some dump of an apartment with no potential, no job, not being able to support herself and using the brain that she has and the skills that she has, trying to fight to make it out in a world that's not kind.
And
She
why-
has no idea. She's heard all the stories about how my parents came here with nothing and how hard they worked and how they told me that the only way to make it in this world is to work hard, and I did, and I
Can I stop
continue
you
to
for a
work hard.
second? You said, you made a great point. Your parents came here with nothing and they taught you how to work hard to get everything that you want, right?
Yes.
You said that. Up until now, right? Remember, she's about to turn 18, right? Can you say that she has been able to work so hard to prove herself and accomplish getting into these Ivy League schools on her own?
So the
Yes or no?
opportunity for a Harvard education and a wonderful life is in front of her, but she's going to throw that in the trash and expect me to pay for it. On top of that, she's going to run off and find herself some...
Whose dream is she living?
Not mine.
So let's see. What? And I get that. Because ideally, what is it that you want for your daughter?
I want her to work hard. I
That
want
she
her
does.
to be successful.
Okay.
I want her to have a nice life. I want her to meet a nice man, get married, have some children, find happiness in her family, find happiness in her religion, find happiness in her culture, and
So-
enjoy it.
I think remembering that she's 17 and taking the steps to get there. Have you ever asked your daughter what she really wanted?
She tells me all the time what she really wants. But she's only 17. How is she supposed to know what she wants?
Exactly. And how is she supposed to accomplish all these things at 17 as well? Right?
Well,
So I
she
think-
doesn't have to get married tomorrow. Obviously, she's going to college first.
Mhm.
Obviously, she's going to medical school or graduate
Mhm.
school after that. Then when she's
I
done...
think what your concern is very real in what you want for your daughter. I think we're missing the biggest piece, what your daughter wants for herself. And while it may not be 100% what you may agree with, but I think trusting and having some trust in your daughter and what she is want or trying to figure out being a support is going to be more of an asset to her than pushing her out the door and always challenging her, you know. But let's hear what Gabby has to say. I mean, I know we've done a lot of talking, but I'm just curious, Gabby. You know, I know you've talked to me about your sexuality and you've talked to me about figuring out what school you really want to go to and even applying to certain schools for your dad and your family. But in a perfect world, tell me what it is that you want. And Dad, let's not interrupt. Tell me what is it that you want, or where do you see yourself just in the next year once you graduate?
I see myself maybe moving to New York
Okay.
full time. Probably more on the outskirts though, because I can't afford an apartment in New York City or any of the big cities. But somewhere that I could be close, maybe take the subway in. Going to a theater school or an art school.
Have you seen any or thought about any of them?
I have. I just don't have any currently in mind right now. But
Mhm.
I mean, I applied to a couple that are good fits, and they're, you know, not Ivy Leagues. They're honestly not even the best theater schools, but they say nowadays nobody's looking where you got your degree as much as they're looking at that you have one. And I think it'd be a great opportunity for training to be out in New York near Broadway, where all the other artists are and theater people are. You know, I could meet and make connections and build a name for myself out there.
So what is it that you aspire to become?
I wouldn't say I want to label myself as one thing. I don't think I want to be a Broadway star. I don't think that I want to be a painter. I think that I want to let that choose me. I just want to, you know what I want to become? I want to become happy. That's what I want.
So what's not making you happy?
Being told that I have to be something that I'm not. I'm not an engineer or a mathematician or a doctor or a lawyer. Those things aren't me, and I'd rather struggle and be happy.
Why do you think those things aren't you?
I don't like math.
Okay.
I don't want to go to school for 10 years. I don't want to, I don't know. I'm more creative. And, you know, those things are all factual and fact-based and linear and logistical, and that's just not who I am. I mean, yes, I do well in school, and yes, I got into the school, so clearly it's part of me. I'm clearly born to be somewhat intelligent. It's just, that's not where my heart is.
Well, when I think about okay, before I ask you this next question, my question to you is, what inspires you?
Life and living and just watching other people and how they interact with each other, and I want to make people laugh and smile, and I want to make them feel something. And I can't do that, you know, when they're under anesthesia and I'm cutting into their heart. As interesting and intriguing as that might be for some, that's not where my heart is.
So my question to you is, you know, when you applied to all these schools, then why did you apply to them? Was it for you? Was it for Dad? Did you see something in there that you thought you could connect with your creative, availability? And
I think I did it for Dad. I mean, I was hopeful that as time went on, when I was waiting to hear back, I was hopeful I wouldn't get accepted. I mean, out of all the people in the world, there's a billion valedictorians out there. I didn't think that I would be the one they'd want. And so I thought that by choice it would rule me out. But I also was hoping that maybe by this time, if I did get accepted, my heart would have changed and I would have seen something to be desired about those fields. But I just don't.
What do you have to say about some of the things that she's been saying?
It's the same thing that I've been saying all along. Everything she just said to you, the message is, I don't know what I want to be. I might want to paint. I might want to. I might want to act. I might want to this, and I just want to let life find me, and I'm just going to go about with no plan at all to figure it out and see what happens. Meanwhile,
I'm only 17. How am I supposed to
meanwhile,
talk to me about you at 17.
me at 17.
Yeah.
Me at 17,
Yeah.
I already knew.
What did you know?
17, I finished high school, went straight to college, and during the summer, I was doing internships at places that would push my future. At 17, I was at the hospital. I was working part-time there nights, doing laundry and scrubbing floors, and during the afternoons when I wasn't in school, I was interning alongside practitioners. I was at the library. I was doing all of those things. There was no time for, I don't know, letting life find me. We're only here for a certain amount of time, and it's our job to prepare for the future. It's our job.
You missed out on something?
And what exactly did I miss out on?
Did you miss out on meeting new people and living these experiences that were, you have all this money, and what do you do with it other than sit around and tell everybody you have all this money? You don't take trips with mom or, go out to concerts and enjoy a little bit of the money that you, like, what's all the money if you're not even going to use it to enjoy? Money doesn't buy happiness.
Money buys security. And that's security for the people that I met. I met your mother. I met you. I met your brother. There's my happiness. And interesting people, I meet interesting people all the time. I meet people who struggle with their health and people who may die. And
Sounds riveting.
afterwards, I meet a different version of them.
And I think that's all great, and clearly those are the things that bring you joy. And I'm happy for you that you got to go after the things that make you happy.
I think that if I can just chime in, you know, we've been meeting for 4 weeks now. And for 4 weeks, we've been doing I've allowed you guys, because I've been trying to figure out both of your positions. And I think it's very clear, comes to term, you know, honestly, that I wanted to take this opportunity to just kind of bring us back to where we even came here. Because I know you were surprised the first time you even had this visit and that Gabby set something up. Because what was your biggest concern when you told me about your relationship with your dad that brought you here? Do you remember what you told me the first week?
Yeah, I just don't want him to stop loving me. I don't care if he kicks me out. I don't care if he doesn't pay for my life. I'll figure those things out on my own, the same way he did, the same way his parents did. That's called growing up. But
That's
I also
the smartest
wanna
thing
know,
she said in 4 weeks.
I also want to know that, you know, I can come home for Christmas and that he's not going to keep mom from seeing me, or my brother. Like, what if my brother wants to come out and visit me in my rinky-dink New York apartment?
How was your relationship before? Before this disconnect? Because you told me this was new, like the last 6 months. It's been new.
It's new, but looking back on it, I don't think it is anymore. I mean, I thought at the time that it was new because we bonded over studies and study techniques and all the things I could do as a doctor or a lawyer, but I was bonding over things that weren't really me anyway, so it's not like we were close because he didn't know who I really was. We were bonding over what guy at school would make the best husband because he can support me, and, you know, what if I want to marry someone who doesn't make money, or a girl, and maybe I want children with my wife. Maybe I have a husband and I don't want children with him. I don't know.
Ridiculous.
I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I don't want children because I don't have a lot of money and I don't want to.
I think you have a lot of legitimate, first of all, it's developmentally appropriate. I mean, you're 17 and there's a lot to the world that you have not yet explored.
Absolutely.
And I also think that it's, in fairness to Dad, I could definitely understand from his experience, right? Just life in general. As a parent, it's our job to protect, to teach, to provide wisdom so that perhaps you don't have to struggle as much as he did and work, not that work as hard, because in his position he works very hard, very intelligent man. But at the same time, we have to find a happy ground, happy medium, because while you have all these different concerns for your daughter, not even knowing, especially where you knew, 17, you already knew you were into, you were doing all these things. But I'm wondering how this relationship is going to impact you by losing your daughter. And
We're not. Why are we talking about losing a child? This isn't about losing or winning or giving up on. Of course I love my child. Of course I want her to be happy.
So I want you to turn around and tell her that, because the reason
I don't
why,
have to. I say it all the time. And everything that I do, everything that I've ever done is in preparation for this. Everything. Having, working hard in preparation for the next generation. Talk about money and all of that money and what I do for that. That's security. That's for you two. That's why you have children.
The reality is, though, John, that your daughter has disconnected from you, and she came
But that's
here,
her fault, not mine.
Listen to me. She came here hoping to find a way so that you guys can connect again. She doesn't want this separation.
But she just said that she never felt connected to me at all.
No, I said looking back now, were we ever really connected?
It's the same difference.
She
I
wants-
don't understand why this is even about connection. I'm
I
her father.
want to feel the connection I felt before, but with who I truly am as a person.
Well, that's
Otherwise,
you're
it
my
was
child.
just
There's
fake.
never. I don't understand that.
But
I
you're
don't
not-
understand.
You're not willing to connect with me unless it's
I don't understand
when
about
I'm being who you
connection.
Want me to be.
You know something?
But I've never not. The issue is not with you. The issue is with your choices. The issue is with what those choices represent for your family and for your generations of people before you and the struggles that we went through.
Times are different, Dad.
I think I have this great activity that we should try.
Okay.
And it's gonna help it's six easy questions. Very matter of fact. And when we answer them, I just want you to answer them involving one thing according to it. So that if it was a time that you felt happy, in also in correlation to your father, and for you, correlation to your daughter. I think we should take the opportunity to just fill this in quickly, and then we could exchange it.
Okay.
And then I want you to read out what Dad wrote, and then I want you to read out what your daughter wrote. How do you feel about that?
Okay.
Fine.
Okay. If you have any questions, I can definitely help you with that. I'll give you guys a few minutes with that. While you fill this out, just keeping in mind that I honestly, from what I see and what I hear, that you both really do love each other. There's a hard way of communicating with each other and kind of figuring out what it is you want best for each other. One, for yourself and finding your own identity, and you as a father wanting her not to struggle, not to suffer, and not to have to deal with certain things that you would never want someone else to deal with.
Also, I don't know how to read cursive. I just thought I'd put that out there.
And just remembering, and keep in the back of your mind that the goal of our sessions is to help you guys strengthen your relationship. Your daughter wants to connect with you on a more emotional level, and would love for you to just be more open and accepting to where she may or may not be as she travels through this adventure we call life. How are you guys doing with your questions so far?
Almost halfway through.
Great. How about you, John?
Almost done.
Great.
Sorry, my handwriting is so bad.
You all set? You finished? Okay, let's give you Dad a few more minutes.
Sorry. Ready? Want to trade?
Alright.
Do you want us to each do one question at a time? So like I'll read the first one and then he reads the
Yep.
first one? Okay. Do you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Dear Gabby, I feel the happiest with you when you are being yourself and not stuck on if you belong in this family or not.
I feel the happiest when we are sharing stories about the week over your homemade pizza, no matter the story.
So, talk to me a little bit about what your dad feels the happiest about for you.
He feels happy when I feel like I belong in this family, it sounds like, and not when I'm worrying about I not belonging.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to not worry when, you know, he's constantly telling me that I'm making bad decisions and that I'm doing the wrong thing and he's going to cut me off if I go to New York. And
So what is it that you need from your dad? When you hear that statement, what is it that you're wanting from him? Tell him.
I need him to let me know that
Tell him.
I need you to let me know that
Dad, look at your daughter.
I need you to let me know that even if I go to New York and even if I choose to pursue theater and, you know, any other thing I choose to do that maybe you don't agree with, that you're still going to call me up and tell me when Christmas dinner is, and you're still going to let me know that we're having a birthday party for Mom or for you, and that everything's still going to be okay.
That was never the question. Never.
That,
It's not about family is family, and you never give up on your family.
well, then stop telling me that you're going to cut me off.
But that's different. Finances does not money doesn't make a family.
I know your daughter's not looking and she's not asking for your money. And she said many times.
We're not talking about money. It's not about money.
No, I agree with you. But I just want, just in reference to the first question, right? She wants, you said that you're most happiest when she feels a part of the family, right? And she's just saying she doesn't feel that way. So that if that's how you're feeling, she needs to feel it from you. She needs
because
to
of
see
the
it from
because
you.
of the wording, and you're also very difficult to understand because you'll tell me that you're going to cut me off, and then you'll tell me, well, that's not about the family, that's about money. And then when I tell you, well, it's not about money, you'll say, you're right, it's not about money, but it's all about the money because you want me to make more money, or you're not going to give me money. And if I make more money, I don't need your money anyway, so I don't want it to begin with.
Okay, Dad, I want you to read Gabby's number one.
I
Or
feel
explain it.
I feel the
explain it.
happiest with you when we are sharing stories about the week over your homemade pizza, no matter the story.
When's the last time you made the homemade pizza?
Weeks ago.
Weeks ago.
Do you feel like there's some truth in that?
Well, she wrote it, so
How does that make you feel to hear that? It's a wonderful time. That sounds like a fun time.
He hasn't done it since I told him that I didn't want to go to Harvard.
yeah, well, our differences of opinion, we haven't exactly been communicating very well, as you can see.
But
But-
would you agree? That's a great time.
I think that while I appreciate everything you're getting at, and there's
Mhm.
a lot of truth in what you're getting at, you're missing a big piece of this, and that's just not how it's done, where I come from. You're sitting here you're looking at us from the outside in, and I get that Gabby is part of a world that I don't have any place in, or I don't understand. In terms of it, she's got a much different viewpoint of the world that I do, but we've always raised Gabby a certain way. It was the way I was raised, with the same belief system. It's about hard work, it's about dedication, it's about respect. But I want to be clear that there's never any question about family is family. If Gabby loves a woman, I may not agree with it,
Mhm.
but that's my daughter.
I still want
There's
to be able
a
to share those
there
things
is
with
a
people.
nothing when something is a part of you, you love that part.
Yes.
And when it's your child, you love your child.
Tell her that.
You love your child no matter what.
So how do
This
you
isn't
feel?
about that. This is about the world is a big, hard, scary place.
And I get that, but right now in this moment, this is about your child and this is about you. So I really want us to just focus and tune in on the questions and on explaining the answers or how they make you feel, because while it is very true and there's so much truth in what you have to say, Jon, in terms of your perspective on life and the struggles that she probably will encounter, right? But in this very moment, I want us to focus our attention on love. Focus our
Love
attention.
is not wanting your child to face the same struggles that you did.
Absolutely.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
No, absolutely.
So if that's not big, mushy, whatever kind of something that.
And that's not what we're looking for here.
Well,
what we're looking for is just having you recognize how you are responding or reacting to what she's tentatively trying to just explore within herself, spiritually, emotionally, physically, sexually. She just wants your support, and where she knows you may not be in full agreement, she just wants to make sure that you support her. And it's not financially.
I said that. I just said that. I don't know. I don't understand what else comes with that.
I think, Dad, if I can interject, it's just like I get that this is your culture, it's how we were raised, and we're going to talk about that a little more in the next question, but you're coming off a little conflicting, that's all. So
I'm coming off from my set of beliefs, and if you're conflicted about that, then
you know what, I think this is a good way to move into our second question.
Can I read mine first?
If you want to go first, you can go first.
Dear Gabby, you make me angry when you throw away your family history and your talents. So I guess this is where you keep saying that our family is built off hard work and dedication, right?
yes.
So why does that hard work and dedication have to be put into being a doctor, a lawyer? Why can't that hard work be put into making a name for myself, to be on Broadway or be a famous painter someday?
Do you think it's fair to say, looking in the moment, do you think it's fair to say that your daughter puts a lot of hard work and time and energy into what she has been able to accomplish thus far?
Yes.
Do you think it's fair to say that everything you've taught her, it is instilled in her, and she still has this work ethic and this passion and this drive?
Yes.
I think you've been able to accomplish that. Read number 2 for me, John.
You make me angry when you tell me I'm going to fail at life for being my truest self. I've never once said those words to her, ever.
Okay, John, I want you to read what she said again.
You tell me I'm going to fail at life for being my truest self.
And what I get from you is that's not the message you're trying to tell her. So I just want you to turn this and turn it around to your daughter and just tell her, even though she is coming across saying this is how she feels, and you're saying, I never said that, tell her, I love you. Turn that into a positive way so she understands. You could reiterate it back to her in a positive way of, that's not how you really feel about her. You don't want her to feel that way about you.
I think
Look at her.
that I'm not some TV dad who's gonna have some big moment and tell you all of these perfect things at the right moment. That's not me. I'm doing the best that I can. But I hope that you understand that I've always loved you and always wanted what's best for you. Do I push you? Yes. Why? You see it one way, but I see it as you have. If you saw you as I see you, you might understand a little more. And I think that our difference is there. And I don't think you're going to fail at life for being your truest self. I think you being your truest self is what's going to help you succeed in life.
Beautiful.
And I
Beautiful.
feel so strongly about it that the thought of you working your hardest and pushing yourself and following that drive and doing all of that, I don't doubt that you would be amazing at whatever you choose to do. But the thought of you doing all of that and somebody looking at you and saying, no thank you, next.
But that's life. Somebody would do that even if I became a doctor. I'd go to interviews all the time and somebody would tell me, No, thank you. Next.
Gabby, I think your dad touched upon a lot of things
And I
for you.
appreciate that. And I'm
So
glad
you
that
got
he
his
said those
message.
things. Yeah.
What were you able to take away from what he just said?
That he loves me and he thinks that I can do whatever I put my mind to, and he just doesn't want me to be shut down by people.
So he's
but
scared for you.
Yeah, but I think he's got to realize that I'm gonna, and I've accepted that no matter what field I go into, there are gonna be people who don't like me, and that's okay.
John, why don't you read the next one?
My favorite memory of you is when you would let me put on plays for you in the living room as a kid.
Do you remember that time?
I do.
Help me relive that quickly. Name one of her plays that you were just so taken back by, like, wow, this girl is amazing.
My favorite one, when she was 4 years old,
Uh-huh.
was Sparky the Bear Makes a Heart for Her Friend.
Oh.
And
Good one.
she
Classic.
she pretended to be a bear, and she had a friend whose heart wasn't going to work anymore, and so she wanted to help her friend, and she went into her workshop and she made a heart for her friend, and she took out the bad one and she put in the good one, and she made her friend well.
You read the next question.
My favorite memory with you is when you were born and every day since then.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like we can move forward in a positive direction.
That's good. Read the next question.
My least favorite memory with you is when you said you were afraid I wouldn't love you.
And how about you?
My least favorite memory is when you threw out my paint supplies because it took time from my studies.
How do those statements make you both feel?
It's a lot of emotions, I guess. I mean, the one that he said, I'm glad it's his least favorite memory, but I also just, he tells me he loves me here, and of course he would always love me, but in the heat of the moment at home, those are not necessarily the same wording he's using, and I know now that that's not on purpose and not intentional, but it
It's
doesn't mean
okay.
that, it doesn't mean things are said that clearly make me feel like this was something that could happen.
I'm not a perfect man.
Not asking you to be, that's why we're here.
So can you own that you've made mistakes?
Of course,
How about
but
you?
if
Yeah.
I could have the opportunity to apologize and move on from there, I don't. I people make mistakes.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
this
why
is your
we're here.
opportunity. We
When she was 3 years old,
Mhm.
she colored on the walls all through the living room
Mhm.
because she thought it was pretty. Do I still hold that against her? No. Maybe if I look at it right now, it just means that she liked to draw. Maybe that was something I missed. I make a mistake. It happens. But it doesn't, it happens. It doesn't mean that I don't love my child, and it doesn't mean I don't want her to be happy. I understand that. I make mistakes. We're two different people. We're two different people. I get that. I understand that.
Yeah.
Something I wish you knew that I haven't told you is I'm afraid of you getting your heart broken by the world. I think we kind of talked about that already a little bit. I think the world's a big place and it's a scary place, and I'm going to have my heart broken 1,000 times by boys and girls and employers and schools, and not everybody can say yes. And that's okay.
But what is the one person that you need in your life?
Well, the few people, my mom,
Uh-huh.
my dad, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Who's gonna help you during those hard times?
my mom, my dad,
Yeah.
my brother. So,
And that's the most important thing. And how about for you? Read the last one.
Something I wish you knew that I haven't told you is I have a girlfriend. Well, let's just say that's her business.
well, and we can save that, I think, for next week because
Yep.
we're almost out of time. So,
Well, you know, what I do want to say is that I think we came in here and I feel like for the first time we've made some progress. I feel like we're able to.
we still have one more question.
That's fine. We can save it for the next one if you want. So, I'm just curious, where is everyone now? Because let's check in real quick because we've talked about a lot of things. We've touched upon personal feelings, apologies, love, school, and while we may have not come to some sort of resolution or a happy medium, I'm just wondering, where is everyone right now? When we end this session, how are we both feeling? Who wants to go first? Gabby, John?
I'll go first. I'm feeling more optimistic for the future of our relationship. I can't say for the future in general. I know my dad's intentions come from a good place. I know he was raised very different, and I don't want to say he raised me different than who I'm gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was raised to work hard to make money.
Mm-hmm.
I was just raised to work hard at everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that by choosing this path, I'm still being who I was raised to be. I definitely feel like, you know, he doesn't hate me and he's not going to cut me off as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. That's progress, I guess.
How about you, John?
I feel like we talked about a lot of things, and I'm someone who needs to sit with things I'm told before I can give my reactions or opinions about them. However, I will say that I heard and not just listened to everything that was said here today. So if I can't give you an answer right now in the moment, it doesn't mean that it wasn't important. It doesn't mean that it wasn't successful or impactful, and it doesn't mean that I have nothing to say. It simply means I need more time to put that into words. I have a lot to think about, and I have a lot to reflect on, and I have a pizza to make.
That's great. So before we end, I just wanted you both to just look at each other, hold hands. That's okay. He's your father. give me a clipboard. And I just want you both to look at each other and just say you love each other. And one thing that you've said to each other for so many years. I don't know, anything.
String Bean, since the day you were born, you've put a smile on my face and a song in my heart. Maybe that's you telling me from birth you're meant to sing and dance and act, and I don't know what all that means, and I don't know how I feel about it, and maybe we live in a different world, but in any version of any world, anywhere, you're perfect and wonderful. You're my daughter. You always will be, from birth to the earth. There's nobody more special to me than you. My heart, you can change it, you can sew another one in, but no matter what goes in there, you'll always own it. Always.
Thanks, Dad. My turn?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Dad, I don't know what to say in this moment. I'm just glad that you came here with me. You're willing to make an effort, and I appreciate that. And I promise to always try and understand where you're coming from. But I hope that you always try and understand that life is ever changing, and you have to change with it.
On that note, I hope to see you guys next week, same time, same place.
Yes.
And please, I'm looking forward to hear about this pizza. Okay?
It is the best.
All right.
There won't be leftovers, sorry.
It's okay. Maybe there'll be some recipes.
Yeah, maybe
I'll
we'll
help
bring
you guys
that next
out.
time. Thank you.